Fear is one of the most useful and yet the most underestimated emotions that mankind can experience. It can help us survive and yet tear us apart at the same time. Sometimes we use fear as a weapon to drive people away or force them into submission. Other times it can make us go into survival overdrive. With many advances being made to make the world a less scary place. Since at the moment fear is rife in the media and panic is making people do silly things, I think it's time to settle down and look at fear itself. When you type fear in the Bible into Google, you will end up with many verses that tell you God shall deliver you from your fears, and some more that say God loves those who fear him. I shall do a video on contradictions in the Bible at a later date. For now, let's just say that God shall protect us from our fears, and we should be brave against our fears. Being brave is an interesting one though. When teaching about the aspects of a warrior, bravery features prominently in the talks me and my friends have given. You can't be brave unless you fear something. I, for example, tell them being brave is being scared of horses but still mounting up. When backpacking, I often said if we wait until we are fully ready, we will never do it. So sometimes fighting the fear can help you grow as a person. Fear is a primal feeling left over from the days of survival and predation. A feeling of being watched, that you're not alone, or that something is going to chase you and eat you. Are classic sensations that trigger our fight or flight response. Studies have shown how the body reacts to fear by firing our nerves, setting our hearts pumping to get the most blood and hence the most oxygen to our muscles as possible, cutting unnecessary brain functions so we can focus on getting out of there or fighting for survival. It can make us perform feats of strength or madness none of us could ever have imagined doing otherwise. And it has helped many animals, like horses, deer, rabbits, and some garden birds, survive by helping them get the blue blazes out of there and crafting them into the most effective runners on earth. So fear is not only important in our biology, but a driving force behind development. But if God wants us not to fear and yet be brave, what should we fear? Fear is certainly useful, but we need to be sensible what we fear. For this, we have to turn to a different book entirely. The Wise Man's Fear. It's part of the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. I recommend checking them out. They're great reads. In it is a passage that goes, "Remember, all wise men fear three things: the sea and storm, a night with no moon, and the anger of a gentle man." It may not be gospel, but it's a good thing to go by. So we're going to take those fears and broaden them to see what they can mean for us. As any sailor knows, the sea can be a terrifying mistress. Many legends tell of its fury. If anyone has seen the sea on a stormy day, they know full well it can be both dangerous and terrifying in the extreme. It is a phenomenal force of nature and can lay waste to anything in its path. We try to build structures against its might, but we are very lucky they last, let alone do anything to protect less suitable structures. The sea and storm, the power beyond our control. That sort of thing is probably a good idea to fear. At the very least, to stay out of the way of. Since the story is set where lights are either fire-based or magical, a cloudy night is most likely going to be dark. And in the dark, many things lurk. Many of us have had a fear of the dark, which is reasonable when you don't know what is out there. Worst of all, we can't see it. The unknown is most certainly the worst sort of fear anyone can feel. Not knowing where someone is, what has happened to them, not knowing what's going on or what to do. Worst of all, not knowing what's going to happen. Many mothers fear losing their children in public for all manner of sensible reasons. It is the not knowing what's happened to them that causes the most terror. A friend of mine once disappeared under my nose, and I was terrified. I was very sure she could look after herself, but she had a rough night before, and I was terrified that we wouldn't be able to find her. It was only when she came back that I realized just how much I was afraid. The favourite law in A Song of Ice and Fire has a saying at the end of each prayer: "For the night is dark and full of terrors." It most certainly is. This is tricky to understand, but I can give an example. I once worked for a chap who was mostly unable to do heavy work, and so, along with my other duties, I helped him out with fixing fences, laying new water pipes, and other manual labour tasks. In all that time, he was the kindest, friendliest, most congenial man I've ever had the fortune to work for. I can't imagine him getting more than a little bit ticked off, and mostly himself, for accidentally breaking something when fixing something else. And yet once, the girls I was working with on the job missed an extremely important task that was vital to the company's revenue. When you interfere with a person's business like that, you've got to face the boss himself. And he had to go right down and have a very stern word with them. The anger of an Australian man who's normally so well spoken is terrifying, and the girls are less shaky afterwards. Someone so gentle can all of a sudden turn and become very, very angry. This one is hard to put into a general fear, but perhaps the darker nature of someone that you never see but hear about a lot. Some people fear animals for the same reason. But I always say, if you know what you're doing and you respect the animal, you have nothing to fear from them. Humans, on the other hand, can hide their dark side much, much better. Steve Irwin said he'd always trust a crocodile over a human. Things beyond our control. the unknown, and the dark potential are all perfectly valid reasons that can quite easily scare the living daylights out of us, and of any man. However, there are things we can do, namely study the things that are scary, to find ways of making them less so. As they say, knowledge is the death of fear. So in this environment, let's see what we know about the coronavirus. A friend of mine posted a link on her Facebook page about statistics. Many people have done similar things. Hopefully I would have added links in the description below. Firstly, to control the outbreak, quarantine measures are being taken. Certainly if one is feeling ill, distancing themselves from groups to avoid the spread is a good idea. And standard hygiene practices are a very good idea to follow. Being sensible when it comes to shopping is another. And by that I don't mean panic buying, I mean buying what you need. If you have food that you can preserve, do it yourself. Looking at how to preserve food is a very good idea. I've done it myself as backpacking. Not easy. If you know what you're doing, you don't have to buy tinned food for a very long time. We don't know much about the virus, apart from its symptoms, but research is ongoing, and many hygiene products are proven effective. The pathogen, and other pathogens of all sorts, so use them sensibly. As for the dark potential, it could reach your area, but again, being sensible and following common hygiene procedures helps reduce the risk. If you're a germaphobe, you're actually less likely to get the virus, because your standard practices of constant hand washing and having limited contact with potentially infected areas have been scientifically proven to work. But again, just be sensible about it. Now I will hold my hands up and say that me and other YouTubers are in other privileged positions that we can continue doing what we're doing without need of external human contact. I myself am in a very fortunate position that I live in a fairly rural area. I don't really go to the city much if I can avoid it, and what I do out of the house tends to be in countryside, down the horses or doing archery. So I'm not saying this from a high horse. I'm willing to say I know we're lucky. Some of these procedures are still useful for those of you that either work in risky environments like offices or even schools. And if you commute to work by means of public transport or even live in the city. Any information on this can be useful. Whilst the Bible can give many passages about not being afraid and trusting God, unless you already have a good level of faith in God, trusting Him is hard to do. Since I'm putting this channel out for everyone, I'm going to refer you to a different book. It's not as old as the Bible. In fact, I know a good many people that are older than this book. But it has some useful pieces of information in its pages, including the merits of towels and the toilet rolls. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about and are holding their thumbs up, because I am referring to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now before you start tearing through your copy to find the best Let me point you to the cover, where it says in large, friendly letters, "Don't panic." Not being scared is hard, but panicking isn't going to help anyone. More helpful advice, go for the information in the description below. If you like this video, or want to get a lift anywhere, give it a thumbs up. And share it with your friends to calm them down and get them out of their panic rooms. Any suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be back to my normal experimental theology videos next week. Until then, remember these 3 things that so happen to be the things you should follow when it comes to 3 things we should fear. Be prepared. Don't panic. And always know where your towel is. God be with you.